All right, how's it going, everyone? So, this quick audit update here, as promised. 70K more mail-in ballots were received than requested. 10,000 votes were added to the rolls after Election Day that cast a ballot in 2020. The election server was hacked. Remote access was available. All access laws were wiped in March 2021. Gee, I wonder why. Probably to hide their nefarious behavior. Original duplicate ballots were not marked and cannot be verified. Now they are supposed to be marked under state law, but if that was not followed, another reason why Maricopa County is gaslighting right now. And then the number of votes certified does not match the number of ballots sent to the audit. Perfect. So let's start at the beginning here, because I think we need to do a little history lesson. This has been an ongoing issue from the left. They've been trying to change the rules or cheat to win, to get Biden in office, or as I like to call him, the Manchurian candidate. So, Mi Familia Vota and Arizona Coalition for Change filed lawsuits arguing that the coronavirus pandemic, which in this case, pandemic, had ruined their plans to register new voters. Well, Judge Logan, ruled in favor to change the date, and then the Ninth Circus actually got one right. Now, I call it the Ninth Circus because they had the most overturned rulings in the whole nation. But luckily, Trump backfilled with some constitutional judges, not the activist ones that are in there. So we got some good judges on this, and got it back to normal, or at least stem the damage a bit. Stop the bleeding. So they go on to saying, their third judge, which, thank you, third judge here, disagreed, writing that these voters should not be allowed to vote in this election because they registered after the deadline that is set by state law. There's the key thing here, right? So the two other judges said that pretty much, okay, we're going to allow you up to a certain date for registration of voters. Third judge came in and was like, yo, no, they can't vote because the October 5th date is the one mandated by the state. We can't change that. So again, you have issues here with that, right? And I agree with the third judge saying, look, the state legislature is the one that sets that date, not the executive branch, not the judicial. You shouldn't let those people that registered after the fact because they missed doing it prior. We're all adults. If voting was so important to you, you would do it by the allowed date, right? And then people are going to argue down in the comments. So I want to see this in the comments. I want to get into the debate with you guys. So go ahead, post in the comments. I'll respond. If you have however long to register to vote, right? You know the presidential election's coming up, and you don't make time to go register. Is that on you, or is that on the state? No, that's on you, because even if you live in rural counties, right? Let's take that rural county argument. Well, and it's the idiocracy of all this, right? Where people in rural counties are smart enough to go get a vaccine, but they're not smart enough to go vote. Which is it? Either they're smart and they can go do what they need to do, either to get the vaccine or to vote, or they're dumb and they can't do either. Which is it? Because the White House thinks they're smart enough to go get vaccines, but apparently they're dumb when it comes to voting, so they need to vote for them. Add that little caveat at the end, but that's really what it means. So, yeah, a lot to unpack. Just the utter stupidity that we live in, which is politics nowadays. So, moving on from this point. So, issue A, which was they tried to cheat when it came to registration deadline. Issue B, data was stolen. Voter registration data from Maricopa County. And they had found 8 hard drives, 3 computers, and a bag of USB sticks. Now, why is this USB sticks important, right? And this was on November 5th, after the election, right? They were still counting. You had November 5th roll around. FBI came in and took all this data. Why is it important? They took all the, data, they took all the hard drives, took everything. Why is it important? Let's look at our voting machine vulnerabilities. And this is from DEF CON. DEF CON is a basically hacking group, right? There's white hats, black hats, gray hats, the whole mix, right? And they're just a bunch of hackers that try to find vulnerabilities and stuff. So they have competitions, this being one of them, to breach into voting machines. So this was done in August of 2019, DEF CON 27, Voting Machine Hacking Village. So here are all the machines they tested and tried to gain access to. And let's talk about the Dominion, because that is what Maricopa County used. So it's a hybrid integrated voting equipment and combines optical paper ballot scanner and ballot marking devices, and it allows for non-visual accessibility for the blind, visually impaired, in compliance with HAVA. This machine provides voters with disabilities the same opportunity for access, yada, yada, yada. Okay, cool. So the point of this being, all these machines have access ports somewhere on them, right? USB, RJ45 connections, and CF slots. Now, in this example, they were able to break in. They're using a Linux kernel, which has medium to high-level vulnerabilities, including the ability to allow remote hackers to be allowed in through DNS, CPU bandwidth consumption via forced NTP packet, which triggers a communication loop with the effect of denial of service, etc. Now, I'm going to bring a little thing up here. Why is this important? Not this link. That would be... Where'd it go? I lost it. Here. Okay. This is why it's important. Maricopa County says there's no way to breach their air gap. Well, someone could easily breach their air gap with the know-how. This is a point that has probably been argued semantics-wise between the Senate and the audit team, because audit team has requested the routers. Okay, well, technically that Netgear switch can be a router. So I'm guessing that's one of the reasons they're not handing over, because, we're not handing over our county routers because our routers are not connected. Okay, we'll hand over all your elections equipment. Oh, that's a router. We can't hand you over that. All the systems are interlinked. Okay, why is the sheriff system on the same network as your voting system? That was the excuse they made. So you're telling me that Maricopa County Networks has nothing here, but you can't hand over these switches because they're connected to the sheriff. Tell me how that works. This should be completely air-gapped, not connected to anything. If someone brings in, say, a laptop, right? They bring in a laptop. Or they bring in some other device, which then they can root in, gain access to the network, and look, then your air gap's gone. Then you have a machine that's connected to the internet, which is feeding back to everything else in here. Stuff can get modified at that point with the right know-how. So this is something the audit team needs to investigate. Was something connected? Especially with this. This is red flag number one, that someone did go in and attempt to modify the machines, considering USB sticks. There are internal USB ports on these machines. If someone went in and modified stuff, there's your chain of custody issue. The chain of custody issue is not that Cyber Ninjas and the Senate audit team have all this stuff right now and they're doing their investigation. They are allowed to do their investigation under the law, and it doesn't matter if they have EAC certification or not. Not to mention, Cyber Ninjas has certification for auditing, doing their forensic audits. They have all that stuff anyways. They've explained it in the hearings. Go watch my live video a while back, or not, it wasn't my live video, but I did an update video a while back, which was They were talking from the Senate and explaining their credentials, what credentials they have, which allows them to do what the Senate has hired them to do. They're overly qualified for the job. They have the certifications. But let's read here, because this is Dominion Voting Systems Democracy Suite 5.5. It's been certified by the EAC. Issue date was December 2018. And let's read the important stuff here. This document describes the scope and validity of certification for the above defined system. Now, significance of EAC certification. Now, an EAC certification is an official recognition that a voting system in whatever configuration has been tested to and has met identified set federal voting system standards. An EAC certification is not an endorsement of the manufacturer, voting system, or any of the system components, a federal warranty of the voting system or any of its components, a determination that a voting system, when fielded, will be operated in a manner that meets all HAVO requirements. Here's the key one right here. A substitute for state or local certification and testing. Forensic audit. Here we go. So the whole narrative right now, which is, they don't have their EAC certification, yada, yada, yada. But look at this. Pro V&V here. Dominion Voting Systems. Who did the county bring in when they said, oh, we weren't doing an audit, it was just logic and accuracy testing. You guys didn't need to be in there for that. We weren't auditing anything. It was just logic and accuracy. Because they lied to the courts about conducting audits. The Republican Party sued saying, hey, we want to get observers in while you guys are doing this. No, we're not doing that. So the judge ruled, okay, no. They brought back in Pro V&V, who certified the machines in the first place after the fact and said, yeah, everything's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, you guys are good. They didn't actually do an audit. They didn't address any of the concerns. Because what we're finding in these forensic audits is, yeah, data is not matching. You have more votes than voters, essentially, is what it's looking like at this rate. Not to mention, we haven't even crossed into the canvassing yet. Once we cross that line and we start doing the canvassing, and when I say we, I mean Arizona, like the Senate team. I'm not a member of that, obviously, but once the Senate team starts doing the canvassing, then it's like, okay, well, now is just not even matching any further. You said that you couldn't vote that day, but yet here you go. Here's a vote for you. You voted mail-in? Oh, someone must have intercepted your ballot. Great. So, unsolicited mail-in votes, recipe for disaster. The federal-only ballot, as it stands right now, recipe for disaster because there's no state-required ID for that. I've talked about that in my previous videos. But the fact remains that this is highlighted right here, and everyone's just gaslighting at this rate. Oh, they don't have their certifications. Doesn't matter. If they don't have EAC, doesn't matter. If we're gonna play devil's advocate here, doesn't matter, because it's not a substitute for a state or local certification and testing. Testing being that key word there, and they're testing these machines to make sure there are no vulnerabilities, which clearly here shows these machines have vulnerabilities. So moving on to the other mess of tweets here. Yeah, it's all just gaslighting by Maricopa County. Now, it's saying it is possible for a voter to not be on the voter rolls, vote a provisional ballot, receive credit for voting, that ballot not actually be counted because they voted provisionally and later show up on the voter rolls. But wait, the deadline was October 5th to register for this election if they were not registered. So what you're telling me is you allow people to vote who were not registered voters. That's what that's reading like. Like, I seriously hope the audit team is copying all these for evidence. The county's just digging themselves a hole here. I mean, they might as well be digging it to China. That's how far down they've gone. But yeah, it's when ballots are delivered, large print ballots, braille ballots are okay. Well, it did allow for illegitimate ballots to be counted because there was literally no marking on them. So then they also took that wording out of context because they were talking about a lot of the mismatches and no original identifying numbers on the duplicates. But yeah, no, this is all just gaslighting on here. And of course, then Maricopa County says, "Oh, we need new Dominion voting machines now." So if we look at their tweets here, let's see, ultimate gaslighting still. Where is it? Bunch of tweets. See, logic and accuracy test. Here we go. Logic and accuracy test. So it wasn't an audit, it was a logic and accuracy test. Although they've been claiming it was an audit. Just this is so dumb. I mean, the thing is, if the county order have cooperated from the get-go and said, yeah, sure, we're going to prove to you that these claims are all false. You can do it at our facilities. And, we're going to eliminate all doubt on our voting process. And, we'll see if there's any fraud. And we'll work with you on that. And then we'll make any corrections if we find it. That would have been the amicable way of approaching this. Instead, what ends up happening is constant gaslighting. More than likely, they wanted to bring back in, where is the tweet here? Oh, over here. More than likely, they wanted to bring back in Pro V&V to say, oh yeah, everything was fine. Pro V&V would do the audit. They would cover their tracks some more. And yeah, there was no alleged election fraud. That's what the county wanted. What the county got was cyber ninjas, which they've been gaslighting from day one since that happened. Even though these guys are completely qualified and certified to do this job, this is just all. I mean, just look at it. This is bad, guys. We hire these elected officials, right? They work for us. It's not the other way around. So a lot of people here in Maricopa County are going to have to make a decision. I know there was a sign-up sheet going around to get a special election to get the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors replaced. I think it's a smart move, especially if they had been found to have been in bed with the nefarious activity that happened during the 2020 election. But we'll see what happens. I am eagerly waiting for the audit hearing or the final report to come through, and that hearing where they're going to be in front of the Senate and explaining, here's what happened. But it keeps getting delayed because Maricopa County refuses to cooperate. So if you have someone refusing to cooperate like this, especially a government agency, what is everyone going to think, right? That you cheated or you didn't? They're going to think you cheated because you keep denying to help in the audit, to be there, to have it hosted in your facilities. You make bogus claims about chain of custody when in fact the chain of custody happened literally back during the election, right? Especially if these USB sticks were found to have been connected to those machines. I'm eager to hear what the FBI wants to say about this, but probably not going to happen at this rate, considering who's in charge of the FBI now. This is just going to get buried the same way as Hunter Biden's laptop got buried. It's all a narrative. Can't let the truth out, because can't let people see the light. Because then, they're going to vote themselves in the servitude of this, right? With, who they're electing. Instead of having patriotic people, they're going to have more of the swamp in there, who has already, it's going to be my grandkids, children's generation that's going to be paying off all this debt that we're in right now. But that's a side topic for another video. So thanks for watching, guys. I know this is a little bit of a long one, but wanted to cover all the information and give you my feedback on it. So thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you next time.